So Mark Driscoll is in the headlines. Be completely honest, before we get into this, I'm not a huge fan of Mark Driscoll. I think he has done some horrible things, especially regarding Mars Hill and the church there. There's a pretty good documentary called the Rise and Fall of Mars Hill. It's on YouTube. If you're not familiar with it, go check it out. I don't have time to go into all of that went on in this video, but because of that, I'm not a fan of Mark Driscoll. I honestly, I don't think he should be a pastor. I think he is disqualified, at least until if he were to publicly acknowledge that he did wrong and repent of it, then I would be more open to it. But until that happens, I don't think he should be in a senior pastoring position. I don't think he deserves that. I don't think he has a right to be there. However, he does have some good takes. I think there are some things that he says that are spot on, that are what we need to hear in our culture today, specifically when it comes to gender roles and men and masculinity and things like that. Yeah. So you may have seen already, there was a men's conference, and it was at James River Assembly in Springfield, Missouri. I think it was at the church, I'm pretty sure. I actually used to go to James River. I was really, really little. I don't even remember it, but I did. I used to attend, and my dad was in a Bible college down there. Now, leadership has changed since then. I'm gonna play this clip real quick, and then we can talk about it a little bit more. So the clip I'm gonna play, you can see, hold up here. You can see, here's Mark Driscoll. I guess you can't see my, okay, there you go. Here's Mark Driscoll. And then here's the performance that he is referring to. We're going to play this real quick. I don't think I'll probably play the whole thing, but we'll see.
I've been up since 1 o'clock in the morning. The reason I'm hoarse is I have been praying for you, and my heart is very burdened for you. And I want to be very careful with this, and it's not what I want to say, but the Jezebel spirit has already been here.
I will say, I don't like how often it gets thrown out. This is another issue I have with a lot of charismatics. How often it gets thrown out that this is a specific spirit or specific demon or something like that. I think it's far too often.
The Jezebel spirit opened our event. This is a rebuke and a correction of no one. This is an observation. Before the Word of God was open, there was a platform. It was a high place. On it was a pole, an ashtray. The same thing that's used in a strip club for women who have the Jezebel spirit to seduce men. In front of that was a man who ripped his shirt off like a woman does in front of a pole at a strip club. That man then ascended. See, our God is not arrogant. He doesn't ascend. Our God is humble. He descends.
Jesus did ascend, but it's not the point.
And then he swallowed.
You just heard someone in the background. I'm gonna go back. You'll hear it. They'll say, he yells, "You're out of line, Mark." That is John Lindell. That is the senior pastor for James River, and we'll get into some stuff with him here in a minute.
And then he swallowed a sword and And Jesus Christ,
They yelled
okay,
Mark at
Pastor
you.
John, I'll receive that. Thank you.
Now you can see it sounds to me like Mark Driscoll is getting applauded and John Lindell is getting booed. We don't need to watch the rest of it. It's kind of hard to hear. Basically, what happens? John goes up and he says that Mark was in error. He says that if Mark had an issue, he talked to him for like 30 minutes before he went up on stage, and he didn't say anything about it. He cites Matthew 18, which has no application here. Matthew 18 is if a brother sins against you personally, how to handle that. It doesn't apply to calling out bad things that happen on stage. Actually, I would say the exact opposite. Things that happen publicly should be called out publicly. That's my take on it. Anyways, so this isn't the first issue we've seen from John Lindell, and they've actually had some big ones. So a little while back, he had Bill Johnson as a guest speaker at the church. I don't think it was for any type of a conference or anything like that. I think it was just at the church, and it came under some fire. And one of the reasons why is because I think it was shortly before Bill Johnson went to speak. Mike Winger actually did a review of Bethel's book, The Physics of Heaven, which I don't have on my bookshelf out here. I do have a copy of it, mainly because I was picking through and finding some problematic things. I may eventually do kind of a review or breaking down of it. I don't know if I will or not, but yeah, it was bad enough. Bethel actually ended up removing it from the bookstore. Didn't publicly apologize, didn't acknowledge that they were in the wrong, which I think them removing it is an acknowledgement that the book is wrong, that it has bad stuff in there. But the fact that they're not publicly acknowledging it, I think is a problem. So that was problematic. And then John Lindell actually spoke out against people calling out Bill Johnson publicly, saying that they were wrong, that they shouldn't do that. And I believe he brought up Matthew 18 stuff again, which again has no application with this. He's brought it up twice and has no application in either of the instances that it was brought up. Next issue with John Lindell. And this one's kind of weird. So they had a healing thing at their church. They talked about it. There was this woman who had apparently 3 toes were missing, and she was prayed for, and the toes grew back. Now, I believe 100% the gifts of the Spirit are for today. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think you can make a good biblical case. I know people do, and there are people that I respect that do, but I don't think you can make a solid biblical case that the gifts ceased. I don't. I've heard it. I've heard it multiple times. The thing is, though, all the arguments that I've heard have been refuted, and they just keep bringing up the same arguments. Not talking about continuationism versus cessationism. I am probably going to do a video on that in the near future, but that's not what this is about. So I believe the gifts are for today. I believe in healing. I have personally seen healing, like in front of my eyes. I can still remember. I was a kid. I saw somebody. They tripped, and I was at church camp over summer, and they either sprained their ankle. They may have actually done worse because it swelled up. It's enormous. It was really, really bad. And I remember we were in our room and praying for this kid, praying for his ankle, and I had my hand on it, and we're praying, and I got my eyes closed, and then a nurse comes in, so our counselor went to get a nurse, and so they open the door, and we all kind of like pull our hands back and look at the door opening, and then we look back and the ankle's just back to normal. Just like the swelling is completely gone. And I mean, it was literally like that. Um, I have seen this stuff with my own eyes. I have seen it happen like that. I believe it happens. But I also think we need to be willing to provide proof. I'm going to get into it. Jesus provided proof. John Lindell says he has proof, but he's not going to show it because he is protecting his sheep, I think is his what he said. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure the lady's name is out. Either way, if it's not, you don't have to provide her name. You can still provide the evidence. And this actually led to I'm gonna see if it's still a thing. Okay. Um this is really weird. It led to this website called oops, wrong. This website. Showmethetoes.com. Um this is so weird, but it's this the website is just about and they have Facebook and Instagram too. So the entire website is literally just about trying to get this evidence to see that this actually happened. And John Lindell won't. He refuses to show any evidence. Well, should he have to show evidence though? Like is it something that he should have to do? We're told that we should be oh, I think my camera just messed up. We are told that we should be Christ-like. I mean that's Christians. We were first called believers are first called Christians at Antioch. And it was literally just translates to little Christs. So are we obligated to show evidence? I would say yes. And there is oh, I don't remember his name. Craig Keener, maybe. He has books. He has several volumes, and they're all miracles. They're all healings, and he turns people away because they don't have enough evidence. These are all healings that are medically verified, multiple layers of medical verification. Like I said, he turns people away because they don't have evidence, and he doesn't want to include things that you cannot prove. So let's look at John 9 or John 12 verses 9 through 11. When a large crowd of Jews learned that Jesus was there, they came not only on account of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So the chief priests made plans to put Lazarus to death as well, because on account of him, many of the Jews were going away and believing in Jesus. So think about this. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, and now Lazarus is traveling around with Jesus. Why would Jesus be bringing Lazarus around with him? Except to say, hey, you heard of me raising this man from the dead? This is the dude. That makes sense. Jesus is bringing Lazarus around as evidence. So if Jesus thinks that it's necessary to bring receipts, why do you not think that you should have to? There's Mark Driscoll's coming under a lot of fire for this, unnecessarily. I think there is some criticism that I think is legitimate. Um, I would say that if he did talk to John beforehand, he should have voiced those concerns. I don't think that that's incorrect. However, I don't think that Mark Driscoll was wrong for calling this out publicly. Like I said, I think things that happen publicly have a right to be called out publicly. People that are putting stuff on YouTube, myself included, if I am speaking out of line, and as this channel continues to grow, there will be people that do this. That's fine. I don't care. I'm open to correction. I am submitted under my local pastor. I have other individuals that I know that watch my stuff that I have close personal relationship with, who are not afraid to tell me that if I step out of bounds. Um, Forgot where I was going with that point. But putting stuff. If you put something online, like I do, then you are submitting that to be open to criticism online. I don't think that should be an issue. But we have a good view here, a good take on this. I think it is a solid take. Um, so it says, I'm no fan of Driscoll or of Christianity for that matter. So this guy's not a Christian. All right, I'm assuming he's not a Christian. But when you have a men's quote unquote Christian conference, and the first thing you bring out is a literal male stripper, how can anything you say be valid? So that is a grievance here. This guy is or was, maybe he's not anymore. I've heard that too. I don't know for sure. Um, I do know for sure he at least was one at one point in time. Maybe he's not anymore. That's fine. I okay, we'll go on this tweet. Go on with this tweet. Do you think this brings honor and glory to the Most High? The answer is no. Do you think this was effective in making men more manly, strong in their faith, or more effective for the kingdom? The answer is also no. Do you think that there were men in that conference that struggled with do you think that there were men in that conference that struggled with attraction to men? Wasn't this a stumbling block for them? Yet let's continue dumping on the one guy who called out this ridiculous nonsense. I think that is a solid take. I think that's good. Very, very good. And like I said, I mean, he said he's not a fan of Christianity, so maybe he is a believer and he just doesn't really like a lot of the stuff that goes on, which I totally get and can relate with on a pretty big level as well. Um, but I think if he's saying he's not a fan of Christianity, he's just not a Christian. And I think he has a solid take on this. I think he's right. I don't know how you get to the point where you think that that is good or even just acceptable. Like, we have gotten so focused on the entertainment aspect of things and so far away from just focusing on learning the word, knowing God, like really, really knowing God, not just going for an experience, not just going for an emotional high. We have There are so many problems with the church in the West, and a lot of it is because of the church unwillingness to tackle issues and do things that need to be done.